Welcome to the Invincible Innovation Show, the podcast for changemakers. Each week, I talk to the most fascinating entrepreneurs and innovation leaders about innovation, strategy, and design. Hey everyone, welcome to Invincible Innovation Live, a show about the future of people with tech. I'm Adima Zolkario, innovation and value creation expert, and I'll be your host. And I'm very, very happy to have with me Professor Sabrina Schork, Professor for Innovation Management and Digital Economy from Munich. Hi, Sabrina.
Hi, Adi. Thank you very much for the invitation.
I'm very happy to see you here. And I remember when we met when I came to Munich, it was a very cold day. And then one of our joint friends matched us. And I was so happy to see you. And you're such an inspiration, so successful young lady. So I'm so happy to have you here.
Thank you so much.
Sure. So could you tell us about yourself and how did you become a professor for digital economy and innovation?
Yeah, sure. So I think, first of all, it's important to understand the constitution of my personality in a way, and also the context where I was grown up and the people who influenced me. And they, in a way, affected the personal journey that I went through. And I reflected this morning, to be honest, what people told about me, other people, because sometimes you have a self reflection modus and you don't exactly know who you are and stuff like this, but then you get feedback from your outward world and they tell you what they see in you, and that helps you, right? So I remember when I was 16, I visited first the meditation class of my kindergarten teacher. And when she said hello to me, she didn't see me for 13 years, right? And she said to me, "Wow, Sabrina, it's so nice to see you again. When you were a child, you were so happy and positive. I always remember this." And this was something that was really enlightening me. Like, wow, really? I didn't know that I was such a happy child.
I didn't know that about me. Right.
Yeah, exactly. And so this had an effect on me, and I really enjoyed also the time and the trust I had to this woman. And then I read a lot about IQ when I did my PhD, about empathy, about emotional intelligence and all this. And then I thought about what has this all to do with myself? And then I realized that I had a test in school about IQ and I never EQ, and I never realized what it is all about. And they gave me a number when I was in primary school, and it was quite, it was a very good number. And I didn't believe in it. When I was a child in school, I didn't believe in it. And
so in Germany, you are getting tested for IQ and EQ, both of them?
It was only IQ and EQ I did later. So the emotional intelligence is something that I did quite late, because this is something that came up, I think in the 80s or something, or 90s. It's a younger thing. It's not so
there's a book of emotional intelligence there.
Yeah. So during my PhD, I thought about this also because at the KIT, also because my doctoral father was also talking about this. And then I realized that empathy is something that came through my family context, because I had a very strong relationship with my sister. And I think that led to the fact that I'm very empathetic. I think it's also a personality thing, but it has also to do with the relationship with my sister, I guess. And well, all this led me, I guess, guided my way, I think, although I didn't really realize it. So my parents also affected me. My father is an entrepreneur, and he's very performance driven, and he pushed me. That was great. I really, I'm very grateful for that. And my mother, she always believed in me and told me that I should follow my strong will, because she saw in me that I know what I want, and that I shouldn't be irritate myself through things that people tell me and who want to maybe irritate me or tell me that I'm wrong or something like this.
Yeah. It's so important that somebody believes in you. And sometimes you don't believe in yourself, and someone outside gives you this wind in your wings in order to go further.
Yeah, true. And this all brought me in a way into the consulting context. And there I supported DAX companies with their digital transformation, with their innovation programs. I set up innovation programs for them. And I got my foundation in an academic, but also in a practical way. So I was visiting a university, did my diploma in economics because, I think also because of the entrepreneurial context I was born in, I was very interested in how I can grow businesses and what economy is all about and stuff like this. And then I realized during my digital transformation engagement in the DAX companies that innovation is the topic that I'm really passionate about. And I saw also the problem that the context where people engage, like really talented people with high potential, can stop them, can make them ineffective. And also sometimes companies follow only the question, what kind of technology do we need? But don't really think about the people, how they think, how they act, and what they need that they can really perform. And that brought me in the end to my PhD topic, innovation leadership. And I asked myself how you can be effective in that context. And my KIT prof, Orestes Tetsidis, told me about Think. And Think is a school in Amsterdam. And they teach you about creative leadership. And so I took this program, and there I met also Romas who connected us.
Yeah. Thanks, Romas. That's a good time to say.
Thank you, Romas. Exactly. And I learned a lot about innovation methodologies, how to adopt them, how to work together with people from all over the world. And I realized also a fact in myself that I saw also during school time, but also in university. I never cared about who I'm talking to. I never cared about the religion, the class they are in, or the culture that they are in. It's more about how is this person? Is it a good person? Is it from my perspective? Sure, I'm subjective, right?
Yeah,
but is it
everyone?
Yeah. So we found a foundation, a great foundation to talk, right? So it was on a personal basis, but also on an intellectual basis. So both is important to match in a way. And this is something that mentored me, like people like you or like Romas, or where I found this connection. They are also mentors for me, because all the discussions we have, also the discussion we have now, guide my way. So they guide my thinking, and they guide the next steps I take. And so after 6 years in consulting, I then decided to switch into an innovation leadership role, because there I found my passion during my PhD, and also during the creative leadership program, I realized that this is my thing. And then friends of mine, also my sister, proposed me to do a coaching certificate, like acting as a coach for others. And this also gave me a new perspective on increasing your awareness, your consciousness in a way, about how you interact with the people around you.
And I think that what you're saying is emphasizing the soft skills that is needed for innovation, because most people, when they think about innovation, the first thing that comes into their mind is what are the most advanced technologies that you need to know in order to innovate, or your technical skills. And your emphasis on being empathic and really understanding people is really important for innovation. And
Yeah.
I know that effective innovation leadership is something that you really studied and you're teaching. So I wanted to know more. So I'm going to share one of your slides, and then you're going to tell me, what does that mean to be an effective leader?
Yeah. So to understand this model, I think I first need to clarify what an effective innovation leader is. So it's a person who is responsible for creating and also implementing innovations together with colleagues and partners. That is very important. No one is alone here on this planet and does it together with the context where he or she is in. And when the person is able to successfully implement those innovations, those can be process, product, service, business model innovations in the market, and the person is able to create a value that is higher than the effort he or she invested, then you can talk about effectiveness. For me, at the moment, it's not enough, because we are currently in very dedicated time, I would call it. So
for sure.
We have many different powers affecting our life at the moment, such as political change, social change, economic change as well.
Yeah. I just want to say, if somebody sees that like in a year, we're in the middle of the COVID crisis. So this is what the time that we're talking together.
Yeah, sure. Thank you.
Yeah,
exactly. So today it's even more important to also think about how we can minimize social injustice, also ecological exploitation, which also can lead to pandemics, right? With our actions, with our innovations that we create. And the model that you see here is the outcome of the PhD, where there were involved 200 people. And it's an ideal profile of an effective innovation leader. So this means, what kind of values, so the navigator in the end that guides your decisions, do you have? And there you see 7 values in the center of the model that guide your actions in a way. Because when you have a navigator, and you behave after, or if you stick to your values, scientists found out that you are more happy in your life.
Yeah.
This is the first thing that you need to understand.
Like, this is a compass in your life that you know that it doesn't matter what is the way, but this is what you want to achieve as a person, and something that you believe in, and it gives you a meaning to what you're doing.
Exactly. You feel comfortable if you follow your values. If you don't stick to your values, you might feel a little bit uncomfortable. And I think if you, or also the data and also other scientists showed that this has a high effect on your well-being if you follow your values. The second wheel that you see there are strengths. And strengths, that means that you perform with a low energy invest better than your peers. So you are, based on your talents you have, on the mentors you had, on the training you got, you're highly proficient in this discipline, or in this kind of action.
Yeah, it could be like your talents, as you say, or something that I have lots of experience with, or something that somebody taught me and I really understood well and I know how to implement. It's like, what are the tools that I have in order to act in my life as an innovation leader?
Yeah, it's the competency, the your personal character strengths in a way. And third wheel, I think there we need to differ a little bit from what you've just were saying, are the practices. And the practices are the things you do in your daily practice so that you get your jobs done. So it's more like what you are doing physically, how you master your life, your daily life. And the strengths are more, if you apply your strength in your daily practices, you are more effective, because your strengths are your power in a way. Because if you apply your strength, it's very easy to get the job done.
Right. So let's give an example of a strength. For example, adaptability or creativity or learning. So
Yeah.
Give us an example of one of them, and how could that influence as being more effective as an innovation leader?
Yeah. So, for example, if you are able to listen very carefully and to associate different informations together into something new, this means creativity in an original way,
Right.
then it's for you more likely that you create maybe a disruptive or a radical innovation, right?
Yeah, right.
Because you see something that others maybe don't see. You
Yeah.
talk to people, to diverse people, and that is quite important, from diverse disciplines, cultures, etc. And you find a sweet spot where you can dig into, and you try to serve this need that you found out in a way that the society or the people that are affected by this value. And this you need to understand, right? You need to understand what the people value, what they need in a way, but maybe they don't know that they need it.
Yeah, of course.
And
It's like you cannot do innovation for yourself or from technology. You need to create it for people and to understand people and what they need, and to build something for them, or something that they will want and need. Yeah,
exactly. So both is important, I guess. I wouldn't say that digital technologies wouldn't be in your focus. You need to understand what's out there. How do the technologies work? What kind of effects do they have on our society and also on energy, maybe, right? Energy investment that we have. Also on how we behave maybe differently if we apply those technologies. Is it only always about efficiency and effectivity, or do we also need to think about the how? What effect has this on our, from an ethical perspective, on our society? So if you are an innovator, an innovation leader, you need to understand, on the one hand, the innovation management ecosystem, but on the other hand, also the digital ecosystem. So what I was just telling, right? Digital trends, digital ethics, digital marketing, digital process mining, for example. This is something that I'm teaching in my role as a digital economy professor. And on the other hand, you need to understand how in the innovation process you can find out what kind of signals you can need to listen to. We heard a lot about this already, that there are different sources of innovation, right? And how you can serve the people in the current society. And this is quite complex.
It's complex, but it's needed even more right now as the world is changing and the needs are changing. So we really need more people doing effective innovation leadership. And I see from the practices, actually, one of the things you wrote is like co-creation, which is something that I talked to in my previous show. And what we started with is that you cannot do innovation alone. So it's a team game here. And the connection between people, one of the things that you mentioned is communication, and co-creation is something which is, you cannot do any innovation without that. Although many people remember the single person who started, like Steve Jobs equals Apple or something. Although he had lots of help on his way, I guess. People sometimes forget that.
Yeah, true.
Yeah.
Also, when they, I just saw a video about Elon Musk also, where they showed all the project that he's currently running, or as you just said, Steve Jobs, who did in the past great products, design-driven products in a way. They always push the person, but never the context where the person was in, right? Or the people who supported them or who made them to what they are or what they were. And I think this is quite interesting from a scientific perspective also, why human society is like only focusing on one person and always pushing them in the center and forgetting about the whole. Do you know what I mean? Like we are,
like the net of connections that made him Steve Jobs and who he is. It's not only him. I believe that it's connected to two things. One is the marketing thing. So Apple wanted to push forward Steve Jobs, or Facebook wants to put forward Mark Zuckerberg. So it's like that's the face of the company. That's one thing. And from the people's perspective, it's much easier to relate to Mark Zuckerberg than to Facebook, if you want to relate to Facebook. It's much easier for us because we're built to be connected to people and not to technology or to a solution or to a product or to a service. And I think it's a game of marketing, actually, as I see it.
Could be, yeah. Still, I think if you always search for someone who is responsible, like we see it now, political games running, and also in Germany, Wirecard, it's a big discussion at the moment. So now they search for one person who should be the guilty person of everything. And now we see the journalists talk about it, and now you see it's a network. It's a network of things going on there. And the network is not perfect at the moment. We see a lot of problems in our current system. Politically, economically, and socially, we need to do things differently so that things like this cannot happen and are not able to happen. And therefore, I think innovation leaders are responsible. Also, I don't think of single people. I think every one of us can, if he wants and if he has the constitution and also the context, can become an innovation leader and become effective if he or she focuses on the values that I was just showing. In an ideal world, you would have all of this, but we all know we are not living in an ideal world. So this is quite, it's not the real scenario, but if you have 2 or 3 values of those, trust is very important. Openness is very important, for example. If you stick to them, you can make sure that you can look into the mirror every morning and evening, and you can, if you are able to apply your strengths in your daily routine and therewith be more effective than others, because you're just quicker, you apply it, your potentials in a good manner. So this helps to become, I don't see myself anymore. I don't know if there is a problem.
Yeah, I see you.
Okay, perfect. That you can become effective this is technology, and this makes it human again. Because if I discuss with my students in the virtual discussions or the virtual teaching that we had now due to Corona, those things that happen digitally that don't work bring you together as a human being again.
I think that what you're saying about being effective and going with your values is something that we see. It's very important in today's world, which is very focused on success, like making more money or business success. That's one. And the second thing that is as I see it, like right now with the COVID crisis, there is this very big, massive change all over the world, and we need to relate to people and what they're doing within this context, and not only to, like, what should businesses do, or what should the leaders of the businesses do in order to survive in this economy, or the change is so wide that there are so many important things that we should address as people. And if we are aiming ourselves for our internal values and compass, we can do much better than what we're doing usually. So it's like it's a point that we can change direction, actually, in some cases. So
yes, I think those crises are fruitful grounds for innovations, and we saw exactly now in the last 2 or 3 months, I saw a statistic about what kind of startups grew worldwide, and they were more focusing on medical topics due to Corona, I guess, and also to e-commerce, because people were at home, they couldn't go into the shops, and so e-commerce was a high topic, right? Those both themes were quite pushed by startup entrepreneurs.
Yeah, I know. But I think it's only like right now we see that, but the change will be much bigger because all the industries will be affected, not only, you know, like tourists, education, medical, entertainment, sports. It's like that's what's right now. But all the other industries will need to change because people change. They change their way they are relating to each other. That's changed the way they are relating to going to a business or to getting service or to going into a store. So they're changing, and therefore companies will need to be much more innovative. That's for sure.
Yeah, I believe that Corona also showed this connectedness, because if in China is something going on, this has an effect on the whole globe. So you see that we are more connected than ever because of the international economic system that grew, right? So the whole industry is connected in a way. And so we cannot think about what we are doing separately. And that is quite also why I think the European Union is so important, that people come together and discuss it and think about solutions jointly and not separately. I believe this is the only way we can go in future, that we solve the problems from a global perspective, but also focus on ourselves, on our competencies to serve those problems and to find solutions that make this complex system a little bit easier, right? Because
we need to do it, and it's not only for sustainability and for things which are more health issues right now. We need to do it because we are really connected, and we see it really clearly right now. It's not only the value chain or the connection of transportation or the business value of things. It's like we as human beings, we need that. And I hope it will be one of the positive effects of that, like this very important era. And could you give me like a few professional tips if an innovation leader would, in this hard times, in this so many unknowns and changing times, what would you tell him to do, or what are the tips that you have for him?
Yeah. So the first thing that I realized also when I was talking to people who are active in economy and also the professors, right? We also had a great job this semester, completely different situation, to stay calm and to really focus on your inner strength. Because if you don't stay calm and find your own structure again, you might feel lost. And this is something I saw with people. They adapt very quickly and they saw a possibility in this situation, a chance. I also saw a big chance to increase the digital competencies of our colleagues and also of our students in this time. And it helps us for the next semester to do a blended learning situation. So we can integrate the learnings that we did in the digital ecosystem together with the physical world, which is also very relevant because you need to build a relationship, a trustful one with the students, and stay positive and believe and trust that we find a new scenario in which life becomes better. So if we believe that we can change it into a better world, then it will happen. But if we also, if we always see only the negative aspects of a situation, we cannot come up with new ideas, with new innovations that lead to a better, more valuable maybe world, right? And therefore, it's important to first have this positivity mindset, this openness, and secondly, take the right decisions and create solutions. So become active and not only talk about it and think about it. If you take decisions that really integrate also the social and ecological aspects that are highly relevant at the moment, then take it into the world, bring it out, test it, do it, find out what makes sense, talk to people. So first connect to yourself, then create something, and then bring it out to the world and adapt it. And if you don't stay open there, you won't find the solution that suits the society as it is at the moment. Sometimes entrepreneurs only are focused on themselves. They forget about opening up. Then they won't be successful, right? So it's always this closing to yourself, find your inner strength, and opening up and connect and act. And what I've seen, I think this might be also a tip for big organizations, because I'm running an effective innovation leadership study at the moment with tech companies. And I cannot say that this is already stabilized or something in a way. It's not a statistical result at the moment. But I see tendencies that especially focus and implementation is an issue at the moment, and also positivity and trust. So at the moment, I have the impression that we need in companies mental trainers for employees, or whatever, like personal training you can also do. You don't always need it in an external way, so that you stay positive, although the world around you is completely changing.
It's really important, because when I see it, like, you have something which is not really unknown. Nobody knows what's going to be, right? So you could be very anxious what's going to be, and very close-minded, and it will be worse than it is right now. And you can be open-minded and curious and saying, this is an opportunity to do something better. It's like the glass, you see the empty or the full part of the glass.
Exactly.
And I think that it's hard for people to stay positive when they don't know, like, the unknown is so, like, heavy for them. And we need more people to be positive, and to even spread the positiveness, I would say. And when you're closed in your room, like in the same space, we don't have the ability to transfer the energy of positiveness as well as when we meet each other. When you're coming to the office or to the university and you had this very, like, not a good day, when you meet someone and let's say it's a good friend or a colleague that is positive, it's really easy for him to influence you and make you feel better. But when you're closed at home and everybody's in front of a screen, it's really hard to stay positive and to have, like, team capabilities, to work together, to create together. And it's really interesting to see that, like, what's the difference? Because I hear you, I see you, right? I understand what you're saying. What's the difference between if we sat next to each other like we had in the coffee in Munich? It's interesting to understand that there is this, we're built for a certain connection, and we need to think about how can we have solutions for that. As you say, like, people are guiding you, coaching you, giving you more powers to do things differently right now. It's not less, but it's just different.
Yeah, I see it a little bit differently. So on the one hand, I'm with you that being in a room, there is a different energy, right? So you sense things that you might not sense in a digital manner. Still, I still feel connected to you, although we are in a digital room now. I feel very close to you. Many people are listening to us. This is something I cannot it's not very obvious to me because I don't see them. This is, I think, different. If we would be in a room now together with 100 people, this affects how I talk, what I say maybe, because we are jointly in a room and I know where people are coming from, maybe what their topics are and all this. On the other hand, if you are very empathetic and you sense what is in the room, this can also affect your focus.
Right.
So
it could take energy and not give. It could take energy from you instead.
So
Yeah.
it depends a little bit what kind of type you are, if this is a positive or negative thing. So if you have this inner strength and you are focused, then it's easier to go out and to discuss it with a big group, and also to save your space, not letting the negative energy coming in, for example.
Right.
It sounds
I
a little
agree with
bit spiritual. I don't think you know what I mean, right? So
yeah.
all
We're
these
talking
aspects.
we're talking all the time about people and their soft skills and their
Yeah.
abilities as people, and not only as business men or leaders, or not only in their role within the company. We're talking about people, and in general, innovation at its best is talking about humans. What are we building for humans? What humans need? And so forth. So it really makes sense that what you mentioned in your effective innovation leadership research is all of the things that we are as human beings need to have in order to create a better innovation, better world, actually. So I'm going to ask you like the last question.
Mm-hmm.
If you could improve only one thing in the world with innovation, what would you choose?
I really would like to change the mindset into a new direction, to be honest. We are still sticking to the innovation definition Schumpeter created 1932, I guess. He started with it. So it's quite a long time ago that, and we are still following those principles, although the world around us changed. So my
What
hard
what was
topic.
the definition? So what
So,
changed?
I mean, the idea was behind it to disrupt, right? To create something new, to adapt, that something old needs to die, and all this. We know this from nature, that this is we see it every day. We saw it also in Corona. It's daily life.
Right.
Still, I have the impression that we are so much focused on efficiency and effectivity, and so much driven by numbers. I still believe it's good to be driven by numbers. Don't get me wrong. And I also think that KPIs are relevant and all this. Still, we need to think also about what effect have the innovations we create, the technology we adopt, to our society in future. What social effects, what social injustice may increase through those innovations? What kind of ecological effects has it? So those are the soft factors. And I see that the disciplines that deal with those aspects, they are so small and they are always on the side. They are not the center.
Yeah, I think the question that you have in the tech world is, what could we build? What could we create? It's like, it's so exciting. We could create this and that, and not what should we? Like, what should we really build? What's the effect of what we're building right now? It's like, it's driven by itself. It's like this huge ball of snow going, and nobody really tries to aim it. Like, we should go more there, or it's like, yeah, we have the capability of doing that and that, so let's use it. So I totally agree with that.
Why do you think scenario building is something that people do not want to do? Because I saw also a study about it, a strategic management study, and they showed that scenario building is something that is there since ages, right? It was something created 70 years ago. And but it's not applied. The worst, best scenarios, like all those tipping points, what could happen, the business world is not using. Science is using it. But why is business world not using it? I don't get it.
Because it's not driven by aims to make humanity better. Like, if you're asking an entrepreneur, most of them will not say, I'm building this because I want to make society better. I want to make the world better. I want to make a change in the world which makes, like, I know, most sustainable. Most of them will not say. Most entrepreneurship is not related to these topics. Most people will build a company because it's something that they are very interested in, and it's very there is a potential for profit, and that's why they're doing it, right? So this is what aims them as entrepreneur, not all the time, not the main thing, but business are built in order to be financially successful. And I agree that we need to make more emphasize on what we want to achieve from this technology. And sometimes you start with something like, if you would have asked Mark Zuckerberg when he started with his like book of friends within the college, did he think that he will be one of the most influential person in the world? Did he know that this is the technology that he is building? The answer would be no. So when you're starting something, it's just the beginning. Nobody knows what happens in the end of the story. So
yeah, still, I think it's a little bit, I believe the GAFAs, you were just mentioning, Google, Facebook, all those, they had all good intentions, I guess, when they started. Students, university, Stanford University, good ecosystem, pushed and all this. Still, if you read at the moment the discussion about surveillance capitalism, for example, which is also pushed from the US, emeritated professor from Harvard University, they say that also the investment that was going on in those companies that grew and grew and grew, they forgot about the what the effects are of those communication tools on the society and also on the world, right?
Sure.
And I think that debate should be in a bigger context and not only small discussions on the side going on. I believe that what you were saying, I'm fully with you, and I saw that also in the startup ecosystem. It's about what I really love, where I have fun, where I find people that match to me and stuff like this, and then I just try it out, right?
Yeah.
And when you build the business model, I think the business model canvas is still the one that everyone uses. You may be not thinking about the planet. You may be not thinking about your values, what you value in life. And this is something that needs to change. And we have some groups that already do it, like Think, for example.
Sustainable innovation is something really big. It's growing, especially in Europe. It's really big. So you see more.
Yeah.
So we're almost done.
Okay.
Could you tell? It's been a pleasure. I really enjoyed it. I hope it was okay for you too.
Yeah, it's a little bit weird for me first time, but I really enjoyed it. Thank you.
You've done really well for a first time. That's for sure.
Okay.
So if somebody wants to know more, how could people contact you? How can they reach you?
Yeah, so I have a website. It's my name, sabrinaschork.com. You find the publications there. You find what I'm doing with effective innovation leadership. There is my email address, and I think it's easiest to connect me via email, and then we can Zoom, Skype, whatever, any digital tool to get in touch. And I think I would be really happy that there are more technical companies or also innovation leaders that are open to understand how they tick and how their company ticks and how they can improve the effectiveness of themselves and also from the organization, so that they create the innovations they think they need to do. I'm not pushing anyone into this thinking about the how. I mean, if people want to stay with the how can we earn money and the what, it's their decision, right? But I give the tools to understand how can I perform better and our organization.
Yeah. So thank you very much. It's been like lots of pleasure. I really enjoyed our time together, and I hope we'll have more time together really soon.
Yeah, I hope so.
Yeah, and I thank for all of you for watching, listening, Invincible Innovation, and have a great week. Thank you.
Thank you.
Bye-bye. Bye. Yay. I'm Adima Zorkario, and you've been listening to the Invincible Innovation Podcast. Make sure to visit our website, invincibleinnovation.com, where you can learn more about our programs and my book, Innovating Through Chaos. I'll be waiting for you next week in our next episode. Thank you for listening.